Hi, in this video I want to show you how to make a simple pivot table from a list of data inside of Microsoft Excel. You can see here we have a fictitious list of employees that work for a company called Child's Play Incorporated, and we actually are collecting several pieces of information about these individuals. We have their position, their department, and their division, as well as their salary, start date, and birth date. Now when you're working with a list of information, basically the columns are called fields and the rows are called records. In an Excel list, there are three different kinds of fields or three different kinds of columns. One is called a category field, and that's simply a field that you can group by. For example, position, department, and division are all category fields. We can group everybody, let's say, into the toys division, the games division, or the teaching aids division. Or if we're talking about department, we could group all the art people together, all the marketing people together, and all the admin people together. Now the second kind of field that you can have is a data field. An example of a data field would be salary. A data field is basically anything you can add, subtract, multiply, or divide. In our case, we're going to be using the salary field as our data field. And finally, there are arbitrary fields. Fields that aren't data and fields that aren't categories are arbitrary fields. For instance, first and last name here and employee ID are just arbitrary fields. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a pivot table that organizes this list of information by department and by position. And we're going to summarize the salaries in those groups. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is click in the upper left-hand corner of my list. I'm then going to go to the Insert tab up here at the top and select Pivot Table. When I select Pivot Table, you're going to get the Create Pivot Table dialog box appear. It's going to select the entire list of data for you automatically. And you can see here, in this case, I'm going from A4 to I-118. You need to make sure that there are no blank rows and no blank columns in your list before you begin to create your pivot table. Or the pivot table wizard will only use all the data up to your blank row or your blank column. And we're also going to place this on a new worksheet. So I'll go ahead and click OK, and I get my new worksheet, and you're going to see my pivot table frame right here. We also have a pivot table field list over here. You're going to see all the fields that are in our pivot table are listed here. We have division, salary, department, position, everything we need. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drag department where it says drop column fields here. And you're going to see that my columns are now labeled with my different departments. Then I'm going to go ahead and drag position over to where it says drop row fields here. So I'll go ahead and drag that field right there, and you're going to now see a listing of the different positions. The final thing that I need to do is add salary to my data area. Drag that right in there, and now you're going to see how much each department spends by position. Now, if you want to change this pivot table around, it's very easy to do. For example, let's say we want the departments to be our row headings and we want our divisions to be our column headings. To do that, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to uncheck the items over here. And you're going to see I'm now back to my normal pivot table frame. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is drag department over to row, and then I'm going to go ahead and drag division right here where it says column. And finally, we'll add salary to the data area. And you'll see I have another pivot table. So that, in a nutshell, is how you can create and set up pivot tables in Microsoft Excel. In other videos, we're going to talk about some of the different options you can work with in this pivot table, as well as how to format it.